Yeah, I think all of, like, most of this season was missing, and then, like, all of next season might be missing. Hello, guys. Setting up Twitter accounts and stuff. You know, the fun stuff. Alright, well, that's happening. That wasn't me. I didn't put that up there. Anyway, okay, so we gotta start the TV up, right?
Okay.
TV time?
I'm
TV
allowed,
time.
I'm allowed to?
You're allowed to. And if you guys were watching prior, you will notice there's something different about the room. The dogs have their own TV now. Found a baby in the backyard, and not quite sure what to do with it right at this moment, so
This one's very happy.
it's a baby robin, so if it dies from fear, hopefully not. Sorry. It was just randomly back there. I left it too, and it never went anywhere. So I just thought, whatever.
This is what happens
Robin.
when you think you can go back and live in your parents' house when you get out of college. That Robin. Because they kick your butt out. And if you ain't ready to fly, buddy,
Oh yeah. Rocket!
you could end up having these dogs stare at you.
Yep.
When the light comes into the paper.
Yep. So we found a robin.
The other light comes. Where's immediately? Don't, my boy. Don't give it to them. Get it up now! What about you? Do as I say! Don't worry about me! Come on, don't say it! Now! Now you get back! That's it! Who opened the doors? Someone has helped us stand up to a stake. Give you up! You open the door. Don't be ridiculous, young man. Why would I do that? You seem to forget that I'm in charge here. Why would I do anything to help our enemies? No, but if you didn't do it, kindly remember to whom you are speaking. I am... Get back to your work, Captain. What about the strangers? You want us to go after them? The strangers? Yes. Yes, instruct Bee Patrol to make ready. I'll take charge of them myself. No, Captain, you will not. I will lead the patrol.
Please, you must try to go on. Please try. Is there any sign?
No, Captain, the band will follow it.
Oh, come on, Doctor. Come on. I guess. Do you care what happens?
He doesn't even know.
Look out!
He's all right, it's Chow. How did you get him away? I did not think it was possible.
Look at the state he's in.
Yes, I've seen many of our people like that. That is how they leave us. Will they recover? Yes, but it takes time. Where can we hide him, Chow? The place is safe, but it's best to take him to the caves. Quickly, they're right behind us. Chow, you and Dover, get the doctor to the caves. I'll try and hold them back.
What can you do?
You can delay them for a little while. Now, come on. You're going to need all the time you can get.
Not Stephen.
That way. The strangers may have done one of two things, Captain. They may have tried to get back to their spaceship, or they may have gone on to the Valley of Caves.
Is he still talking like
I suggest we split up. Take two men and see if the strangers are trying to reach their machine.
He was
I will go on to the valley.
back in control.
You two. Guard the stranger's space machine. You are not going with them. I will come with you, then. I think you may need my help. Very well. Now, okay. Over there behind those rocks. Let us split up and work down the side of them. You take that side. I'll take this. Taylor, you can watch and can hear. Who can tell? He's a brave man.
Are we nearly there?
It's not far to the valley of the caves.
Only the doctor was move faster.
You must understand, he's not himself. It's as though we're asleep still. Help him. Do not be angry with him.
Sorry.
What happened? The late for time, the longer he can delay up, the more chance they've got to get in the doctor to the case. Come on.
Charlie, Johnny, there's your cave.
What are my people doing? There's no God. Thank you.
Wasn't in your head.
I'm worried. It's a pity I didn't kill him. But I had a chance. People of his kind must be destroyed. If there is to be any hope for the rest of us.
We will not stay on there that way, so.
You hear, huh? Nina requests our enemies. This is a dangerous man. What do we do? Let him go so he may attack us again? Or do we get rid of our enemies to help ourselves?
Charlie, our leader, he must train to give us orders. This man is not to be hurt.
I do not trust the strangers. The child is not here.
Charlie. I am here.
You would fight for this man, Anita? How can an enemy mean so much?
It's Charlie.
Help him.
Where's the other stranger?
He will come. your guards. It'll be too late. They will be in the valley by now.
There's someone coming. It's Stephen.
Get him inside, quick! They're right behind me! Fire! Get into the back of the cave, quick! Get into those capsules! Get into the silence!
Yes, I forgot.
He's moving. It's leader. Dr. Jano! What are you doing? You must not harm Jano! But you don't need her! Please carry out my instructions and do not harm Jano! It is too late now. Yes. Take him down. What? Dear. Go on, Jake. Then use it, Miss Raft.
All right, Doctor.
Yes, I think so, my dear. We must be falling into some kind of a coma.
Hello, there's someone there.
So, when my prayers have been sent, I hear their leader escaped.
Scared. Oh, there they go. Bye. Bye.
These are the cave dwellings where Charles's people live.
We've got to get back to the TARDIS.
Oh, right. No, my dear, no, we can't leave yet. No, we've got another work to do. What? Yes, I don't intend to leave these people in this oppressed state. Well, you're never going to convince the elders that Challenger's people should be treated like human beings. Yes, you're probably right, my boy. I shan't even try. Well, what are you going to do? I am going to destroy the power that they hold over you. Destroy the laboratory? Yes, precisely. Well, how are we going to get in? They've been waiting for us this time. All we need is one friend from the other side.
But there is no possible.
I think we have him already, my dear. It's getting dark. I want you to return to the city. Yes. I shall be all right. Can't say that I refuse to. I am still your leader, Edo, and this is an order. Tell Central and the elders that I shall return with the strangers as prisoners. Under protest. They're gone. All of them. It's hard to tell. It's too dark. Yes, I think you will find they've left one behind.
Hello.
Oh, God.
If you're
Yes,
watching
so there's no need to, my boy.
the end of this.
Speak a little, you say.
Also,
We
feel
have
free to talk
left
to
one
us.
behind,
Talk
but
back.
we do not need a guard. That is correct. We are
Stand by
waiting
right
to
now.
start.
We're actually
Then I
reading.
think we shall have a visitor. But you shouldn't have left him there now. I was forced to. He's acting very strange. There's no time, sir. Are you sure? Jano has changed. That's a dangerous accusation, sir. Dare you repeat it in front of them? I was ordered to return here by Jane. Elder, I believe we are about to be betrayed.
By the way, I'm Kristen, and that is Anthony. You can just swipe around and see the whole room. It's all good. Oh, and the dog down here is Hawkeye,
Someone coming.
and that
There's no need
cage
for that,
is...
my boy.
Yes, we haven't named the bird yet. We don't know if the bird's going to survive yet. We just found it in the backyard.
Yes, I am here, Jano.
Yeah.
We were expecting you.
I mean, even if this video is over, and
Tell your people they
this
are
far
quite
and you
safe
want
now.
to send us a
Jano
message, feel
comes
free.
as a friend. Do not be afraid. We must trust this man. How do you know that I come as a friend? Oh, my dear Jano, it wasn't difficult. I knew you were to undergo the entrancement yourself. You knew that? Yes, an unknown experiment. And you're not the type of man to allow others to take risks. You're all right, Doctor. But now tell me, what has happened to you? Well, it's all very simple. You wanted by internet. You got it. And along with it, you received a little conscience. Conscience. Yes, yes, you see, Jano's now saddled with the sense of right and wrong, which makes him an explosive element in a civilization such as his. Is this true? It must be. All I know is that since the experiment, I have not been sure of myself. I have grown aware of the evil that we have done, and I'm determined to end it. You are going to help us? Yes. Your friends would never agree. I know. I will not try to persuade them. Jano has another plan. How do you know, Doctor? I think it's like mine. Strong. If he gets back, that will be the end of your fine plan. You must take that chance. Melina! Why did you phone?
If you betrayed Jano, what will become of us?
It is Jano. Who is the traitor?
What if you learn his story? If we are people like yourselves, what chance will you ever have if you speak?
Keep silent.
You're only a life or so. I have a right to ask you. If you are against us now, you can condemn us forever.
I promised Jano that I would tell no one about the transference. But now I must. It appears that Jano has absorbed dangerous ideas from the doctor. What can we do? We can no longer trust him. He is not fit to lead us. I will take command. Declare an emergency. We must be ready. Everyone must do as I command. You too, Doctor. No one will turn back. And now we must move. You were a prisoner in the cave. That is correct. Jano, I left him there alone. You had some plan. I did not see you. According to Captain Nadal, Jano is no longer to be trusted. He has gone over to the savages. Come on! Get him on there! Come on, come on!
Wasn't he like the leader?
Yes.
Come on!
Now he has the doctor helmet and he's
Are you sure, Hector? You have nothing further to report. Nothing, Captain. Strange.
strong sharing the doctor.
Very strange. The typically interrogators can get out of it. Only the leader has the right to send citizens. The Captain Nadal has called an emergency. He has taken over the leadership in the absence of Jano. In the absence of Jano? You will not expect him back, Jim. Why not? Dare I not say that I will be back with prisoners? Bring in the strangers. So you are wrong, Nadal.
One day it'll be
Captain Nadal informed us that you have gone over to the enemy, Jano. He has tried to take your place. Put the captain under arrest. Both of you. I demand to be heard. You will be heard at the right time and place. Take him away.
I'm guessing now that I moved that far away, I probably can't hear
We
him.
apologize, Jano. We thought that something had happened to you during the entrancement. Seal off the doors. Are we to prepare these savages? Seal off the doors. What's happening? I insist upon doing. You will find what I am going to say very difficult to understand. All the elders of our city are here, and so is the source of our supremacy on this planet. No man easily gives up the means which give him power. I don't understand you, Jerry. That is what I am asking you to do. I want you to destroy all this. What? The laboratory, the generators, all the machinery which we have used to destroy our fellows. They are not our fellows, Jano. They are the savages. They're not capable of development like... How do you know? All history proves it. The savages are good only to provide us with energy. The laboratory must not be destroyed. These people whom you call savages are our equals. What we have done to them is wrong. If you will not destroy all this, then I must. What are you doing? Stop it! This is our only chance to stop life effect on this planet. Help me, you now! The place is destroyed! The power's gone! You! I should have killed you a long time ago! You, Doctor! You have done this to us! Here! You have no more authority here! You are a traitor! I do not take orders from traitors! Look it! Doctor, we already owe you much. And now I owe you my life. General, since you have destroyed the power you held over Charles and his people, you realize now, of course, you've got to learn to live together. Yes. But the fear and hatred of the past will only die slowly. We need someone like yourself as a mediator until we have become one people. I see, but in my case I'm afraid that is utterly impossible. The man we need must inspire trust. His judgments must come from his heart, even more than his head. There is the leader we want, Jacob. This is what I thought. Yes, it is so good. A great honor, therefore. I can't walk out on you. Don't I think of the challenge to be able to set up the people of these planets for a new life? You're quite ready for this task. You think I can do it? Yes, I do. And you're the only man who can, my boy. If the offer come from both sides, you will give us new hope. Our people will become great again. We will learn to live as equals without bitterness. What about talk? I should accept your decisions. Very well. I won't stay. Thank you. And thank you. You have justified our faith. Should I survive that? Doctor, for many light years, we looked forward to your arrival on this planet. We always knew of your wisdom, but we never dreamed of the miracle that it would bring us. Thank you, Jano, and if ever you need the benefit of my wisdom again, I trust and hope you will allow me to express myself with my own free will, rather than place me in an oven and try and cook it out of me. Come, Charles. We must summon our people. There is much work to be done. We shall await you in our council chamber. Well, I must say, young man, I'm very proud of you. Doctor, I don't know it. I know, my boy. Go on, we mustn't keep them waiting. Goodbye, Doctor. Goodbye, Stephen, and good luck. Oh, who knows, my dear? In this strange complex of time and space, anything can happen. Come on, let's go.
You just slap her in the head.
We mustn't go back.
Look like you're right.
Holding her head. Jeez. Doctor still hasn't go over.
It's not extinct yet. That was fun. You awake? Mentally? Are you sure? Okay. Because we have to talk now. Okay. back over so you can set it up. Foot. There you go. Yep, you're not awake. Let's pour the whole thing in the middle. You're still alive in there? Where's it moving?
Oh yeah, circle the bird.
You good feet. Oh, it's still breathing.
Well, yeah, because the only reason it would die now is if it either starved or had a heart attack.
I don't know if I should just take it to the vet or just give it grub. Is that supposed to be, Kristen, take this, put it on your toes?
No, it was just kind of wanting to get it over in that general area. So that I don't get them confused.
I know this looks weird. It's cool. Alright, well that's gonna be weirder than what I just did.
Yep. I can outweird you any day.
In public, yes. I appreciate my my appearance. That was weird. It was really fun to watch that. Said I appreciate my appearance in public, but I can get weird. She says with her eyes popping. All right, what's this sound like? I appreciate my my appearance. I don't know. I'm an idiot. It's okay.
Yee.
What?
Yee.
What?
It sounded really funny.
I didn't know what to say. I was thinking and trying to talk.
Alright, alright, alright. Check, check.
Chirp, 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 chirp. I don't know. Should I tweet out where? You know what? Why am I doing that when I have this right here?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. And then, yeah. Ding-a-ling.
Ah! Just gonna take that away from you.
Why?
Because I don't trust your abilities to not spell it. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Nope, not still getting the death looks.
Getting the what?
Death looks.
Hmm? Are we ready to do this thing?
I don't know.
Wow, it's only 4 o'clock.
Yeah, because we don't do our walks anymore because we have video on.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Alright, alright, alright.
Hold on. Wow.
Does not take much to amuse me.
I'm sorry. Twitter's done. What do you want?
Yeah,
No, Twitter's not
look
done
what
yet.
she has to put up with.
Twitter, I'm just trying to get us, alright, whatever. Twitter's done! Not really. It's never done. Twitter is never done. Twitter is awesome. So is YouTube, so is Facebook, so is Instagram, and Snapchat's cool. I think it got more awesome lately. But whatever. We're going to talk about the Savages.
Yeah.
Did you hit record yet?
No.
I have this feeling
that
you're recording on top of us
No.
recording.
No. I mean, this is,
breakdown.
but this ain't.
So if anybody wants to talk to us while we're doing this, feel free. Have as many people as you want. Join. We don't care. I mean, you're just checking out
We
what
have no
I
pride.
consider my game room. So if you have any questions about the room itself, I'll totally talk to you about that too, including the 2 dogs down on the floor.
And the bird cage that's now near the doorway.
Yeah, we found a bird in the backyard.
Baby Robin.
Yes. We're not sure if it has a problem yet, but it's going to hang out there.
It would
for
have had
now.
a problem if it stayed out there on the ground.
Yes. It was just sitting there, just like still. So we're wondering if it has any problems. Anyway, so we're talking Doctor Who, Savages, which,
Well, first we should probably say who we are.
yeah,
Anthony.
I guess my name's Kristen.
And?
Did you hit record?
Yes.
You did hit record! You hit record way before!
But
You're
when you
lying.
asked, it was not
lying.
recording. When you asked, it was not recording.
He's a liar. Alright, and this is DW Don't Blink. So, we either want to start this over
I'm
again.
going to start this over again.
Okay.
I'm Anthony.
And I'm Kristen, and this is DW Don't Blink. And if he doesn't edit this, you're going to hear that twice.
And today we watched The Savages.
Woo, the Savages. It reminded me of both communism and, I guess it reminded you of racism, right?
Well, yeah.
Planet of the Apes for me.
Sort of, well, I think that's the first thing you said was it reminded you of Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
Trapping these people with slavery. They're trapping these people and using them as slaves. I am...
In essence. I mean, but not like directly, not like making them work for them, but...
Yeah.
They cut out the middleman.
It's not as good as the Batman episode. Totally And this TV show actually doesn't exist anymore, so
Right.
it's very sad. It hasn't existed for a long time, and we had to watch a version that was, you know how you say they recorded these things off the TVs?
Mm-hmm.
This was created as a slideshow in probably the 90s, and it was the first one that really looked like something recorded off the TV. Off of a VHS. It had the little runs on the bottom of it and
Yeah.
everything.
Well, this was probably done and distributed, this reconstruction on VHS tapes. And then eventually someone digitized it, and of course we watched the digital version of the file, but I'm sure this was sold at Doctor Who conventions on VHS. Like you would buy a lot of Star Trek blooper reels and other assorted things, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can always tell what has been on VHS because you got that fuzz on the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
That tracking thing.
like Kid TV and Willy Wonka.
But well, there is a landmark for this episode because it is the first Doctor Who episode where they did not name each of the parts of the episode.
Oh, yay!
So yeah,
Finally.
up till now, and we haven't mentioned them. Each episode, although it had an overarching name, each weekly part of it would be the 4, or that one Dalek one had 12. Each part would have a name.
We never talk about Daleks again.
And this one, it was just episode 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And so that was a first, and that continues on through the rest of until modern day when the episode is generally just one part. And this aired May 1966. Yes. To June 1966.
Oh.
So.
Remember when I said Twitter is over? I told you it was never over.
Yeah.
It's never over.
You shoot it.
I can't.
So, while Twitter gets sorted out,
Okay, keep going.
in this
You
episode,
saw
they
more than I
land on
did.
a planet, and they immediately kind of run into, well, they see the savages, who, throw spears at them and things, and they run into the elders. The elders are like the dominant race on the planet. They live in the beautiful city, and they have all these advancements in science and technology, and in fact so much so that they mention that they've been following the Doctor's travels and exploits for a long time now, and had looked forward to his arrival on their planet, because they knew that he would come there. A little bit surprising. That would be a little disconcerting to me if I was the Doctor.
Okay.
Like, geez. Really? Got nothing better to do than...
I was tweeting during this part. And I told you we needed to watch it over again for me. But yeah, they were watching?
That's what they said. They said, we've been following... They didn't say watching it. They said, we've been following your exploits for a long time now, and we predicted you're coming to our planet and knew that it would be soon.
Huh.
So they want to name him to some lofty position, but the Doctor's kind of a little reluctant. He says, well, I need to first kind of check you out and see how it is that you've accomplished all that you've accomplished here.
They kind of held him up on a pedestal. Which, you know what, if they were watching the stuff that he's been doing, they would know that he actually left a whole bunch of, women stranded on a planet and...
With no shoe.
That's his daughter. I'm talking about granddaughter. Talking about, the blondes. The blondes. So that's probably where they're like, yeah, he'll appreciate what we're doing with the savages. Otherwise, he's been fighting off, not amazingly, but he's really, truly been trying to survive most of the time. But basically breaking down societies and stuff like that just because of stuff that they're doing.
Right. I think if you really knew him, you would not want to have him around, considering they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing is wrong. Of course, they don't really fully consider it wrong because what ends up, what you see early on is that they capture one of the savage women and they put her in this vat, which this kind of gas fills it, and the person who comes out of it is generally kind of comatose. They don't really respond. They'll move in a direction if you tell them to, but other than that, they kind of almost they no longer have a mind of their own for a little while.
Well, they were like that initially because of the light beam that they were using?
Well, there's a light beam they use to capture them, and that kind of paralyzes them, and then they can anywhere the light beam. It's like a cat. Anywhere the light beam goes, they follow. But there's also the vat where they suck the vital energy out of. And I leave the battery funny today.
Oh, okay.
They suck the energy out of a person, and this is how they've accomplished what they have, and they basically take energy from the savages, which doesn't kill them, it just renders them nearly comatose. Then they dump them back outside. The rest of the savages come pick them up, take them to the caves, let them recuperate, and then it's like a battery. Once they're strong enough again, they go grab them again and do the same thing. So they're just basically constantly doing this with the savages. The savages are kind of free. They can pretty much go and do what they want outside, but they're certainly being exploited and used. So it's kind of a tough it's tough to think of what the line is there. You know, are they slaves? Are they exploited? You know, what? You know, to try to come out with a term of what it is.
They're a drug.
Well, yeah, because certainly the elders are like addicted to it. They can't think of being able to accomplish anything without basically taking it from other people.
Yeah.
And in fact, later on, of course, the doctor being so intelligent, they go to grab him.
No, well, they didn't do it initially. What happened was that they were trying to hide it from the travelers.
Once they realized that they knew about it and weren't happy about it, that's when they
decided that it's time to experiment on the doctor.
Right, because they've never done it with someone who was intelligent. They've only ever done it with the savages. But once you meet the savages, which is when after they discover it because Dodo's kind of wandering about aimlessly, they keep losing her.
Sounds about right.
And she sees them with, bringing this savage woman in. She runs into this guy in a hallway who's kind of this comatose. He walks towards her, but he's not really going towards her. He's going towards this secret door in the wall she didn't know was there. She goes through, and she's in the laboratory.
Oh.
And that's when she sees what's going on, and they don't manage to grab her. So they kind of like, well, she saw something. We don't think she'll be able to know really what it is. But it's shortly after that like they realize like we have to grab these people. They really want the doctor to be like, hey, I'm with you guys. You guys are great. Kind of patting them on the shoulder, kind of being their sort of not leader, because this guy Juno's their leader, but sort of like their big like champion. Like, we've basically done this all like for your. It almost seems like they almost like in their heads they've done it all for his accolades, and they're hoping to get that from him.
Yeah, but they didn't.
No, because once, of course, he finds out what's going on there, and he arranges. Like they're just going to go to the TARDIS to get something. So he's like, Steven, I need you to help me. And then, like, as they're getting ready to leave to go to the TARDIS, he's like, oh, and Dodo, you got to come with us because we don't want to lose you again. And they all three of them head for the TARDIS, and like even these guys are like, something's up. and they all head out there, and then the doctor's
and the doctor didn't want to talk about certain things. He just wanted to get like information from his TARDIS.
Right. And that was the premise he used to get out of there. And of course the elders are like following them because they're like, this is kind of weird. Like, why do they all suddenly want to leave?
No, they knew because they said it right away. They said that the girl saw it. The girl saw what was going on.
They knew that she saw something. They didn't think she could piece it together, but
they figured that they should follow the doctor because he can piece it together.
Yeah, he's smart, and he'll be able to figure out what's going on, which of course he does.
And they take him in.
Yes. they capture the doctor, and that's when they bring him in to do the transference with him. Dodo and Steve go to try to rescue him. I think they're being chased in the caves. They manage to get the gun from the guy chasing them, and they use it and this is the first time that savages have seen somebody fight the elders, because they just think they're so resigned that they don't even consider that they can fight back.
Yeah.
They're just so beat down, and they imply they used to be like an artistic civilization, and now they just don't have the energy or
Well, they're constantly
the
being
will.
drained of
Right,
the energy
exactly.
and the will.
It's basically being stolen from them is their whole society.
Yeah, so all their energy and will is going straight to this other society.
And that, I think, is the slavery aspect.
Yes.
Like their entire, work and ability is just being taken.
Yes.
And they just, so they're surprised when Ian and Dodo come out and they have the gun on this guy.
Well, they wanted to kill him.
And first they're like, you can fight the elders? Like, and then of course they wanted to kill him. But, Ian and Dodo, Ian, now I'm saying it, Steven and Dodo.
Well, that's okay. You don't have to remember this name much longer.
True. Yes. Want to go and rescue the doctor. So they head to the Elder's city to go to rescue him. And where, of course, they end up finding him in this comatose state and trying to get him out. And they end up stuck in and this is what I suspected the moment they were doing this with the doctor. And I think only hearing it, we don't fully know, but there was some text subtitles as well telling you what was going on. And the leader of the elders, not only, and I'm like, I know he's going to get more from the doctor than he was hoping. Because the doctor is going to be very against this, and his personality is going to be very against this kind of thing. And so now the leader is kind of infected with that same leaning, and he comes out and he's kind of doing the thing, putting his thumbs in the front of his shirt like the doctor does.
Well, I mean, this is like where they took the doctor, they put it into the vat, and he bubbled up, and he was kind of like a weird experiment type version. Because I remember they're like, oh my god, we're really getting it out, like a lot of it out. They got like 100%, I think, right, or something.
I don't remember what they said, how much.
There's like 7. I know they got up to 70. But yeah, it was the strange way that they did it, and yeah, he took a part of it, and then he was holding onto his shirt and everything like the doctor. I love the part.
And kind of, well, what we could hear was him kind of sort of speaking some of the doctor's mannerisms.
I love that one part, though, like, one of the mannerisms that he tried to copy, he did it a little wrong, and it turned into meow.
Yeah, the doctor's sort of a little bit of, that little sneer that he does when he thinks he's being overly clever. The guy gets it a little bit wrong, and it sounded a little strange.
Yes.
But, it was actually kind of interesting.
It was kind of cool that somebody actually was mimicking what he does in general. It's like, I don't know, like those times where you have somebody pretending to be somebody else all the time.
And this kind of gives you an inkling of what's about to happen. And what happens is when they get trapped in this corridor, it's closed on one end. The guards are coming from the other end. They filled it with smoke, so the gun, which is a light-based thing, won't work. Suddenly, the other door opens, and it's basically Juno in the control room has opened the door to let them out. And of course, they run back to the control room. You let him out, and he's like, "I'm the leader. Why would I let them out?" It wasn't basically the old "wasn't me."
Everybody started realizing
and then he's
that
like,
they
well,
can't trust
I'm
him.
going to lead. And I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was really interesting because it was like sort of a double twist almost. They suspected him from that moment. So they're going to go with him. He's like, I'm going to lead the party to find them. they suspect, like, oh, we got to keep an eye on him, so I'm going to go too. And so they go with him. And then when they get them kind of cornered at the caves, he's like, well, you guys go back and I'll guard here. But you need to go back to the city. And the guy's like, right. He's kind of like iffy on it, but he goes anyway and leaves Juno there. Of course, Juno, what he's going to do is go in the cave to go talk to the doctor and everybody. And they go back to the city, and he's kind of telling the other guys, like, look, this guy's been acting weird ever since this experiment. I don't know if we can trust him. He's kind of getting them over to his side. And then Juno shows up with the prisoners. I caught them. I caught the strangers. And so everyone's like, see, he's fine. What's up with you? Why, So now they get pissed at this second in command guy for, like, trying to get them against the leader, and obviously the leader's okay, and he ain't. It's just like a double ruse.
Yeah, because, if the doctor was playing that game, apparently he would do the same thing. That's how they're saying it.
But I thought that was really cool, the way they came in. Like, you didn't suspect it. You didn't see that beforehand. Like, they didn't, I kind of feel nowadays they would kind of spoon feed you that plan at some point, so you'd expect it. But there was nothing. It was the scene in the cave, and then suddenly they're walking into the city. These guys are talking bad about him. He walks in on them. What's all this? Of course I'm here. And I brought the strangers. I caught them. And it's like, oh, that's a cool plan. I mean, because he's with them. He's working with the doctor and everybody. So you know that. And so the moment you hear it, that's like this really neat idea, this really neat plan.
It's the double cross that you know.
Like a double cross, I like it.
Yes. Okay.
And that pretty much, there's kind of the usual sort of fight type thing that goes on.
That we can't see. Because
that we can't see, so I don't really have much of a feel for.
Like, last episode was easy to talk about because we had the full episode. This one, it's like...
But it didn't seem like there was much fight. It was like the doctor's plan and Juno's plan by inference, because he's thinking like the doctor is, I'm going to destroy this thing. Mm-hmm. That way it can't be used, and they'll have to learn to live together and work together.
It wasn't really a fight. It was more like a destruction moment.
So yeah, they all grab sticks and start just beating
stuff.
The equipment.
And the reason he's saying sticks is because...
Yeah, we love the barber stick.
He loves the fact that in one of the episodes, one of the first few episodes, Barbara goes after these brains in jars and destroys all of them.
The brain-beating stick.
I have to explain that because if somebody new has popped up and just decided to start here, they don't know what the barber stick is.
Yeah. It's the brain-beating stick.
It's the brain with eyes beating stick.
Yes. And I suspect in my mind they go to the TARDIS and go grab that stick and bring it with them. I have that in my mind.
That stick forevermore is to beat up people.
I think that stick is in that vault in London, along with all the other stuff.
I don't know. I think
all those dangerous weapons and things is the brain beater stick.
I feel like you're the only one who remembers the brain beating stick.
Probably, but I love it.
Yes, I know. She just went to town on those things.
So they destroy the equipment, so now these two sides have to learn to live and work together, and the doctor has a plan for that. And his plan is the reason why we don't need to remember Stephen's name very much longer.
That wasn't really his plan. Everybody kind of just begged him to stay.
Well, I think the doctor's the one who said it first. Like, okay. I think you should stay here and help them, and this is like a great opportunity. You'd be, helping out at the start of basically this civilization working together, because he kind of had to convince Stephen, and then Stephen was like, well, only if both sides agree. Yeah. And I think that's when the other two were like, yeah, that's a good idea. Because I think they figure, I guess, that it needs to be an outsider, someone who is not on either side of what was going on for so long.
Which is good because then it's impartial and he doesn't hate either side
Right.
as much.
Yeah, he's not gonna favor either side, and he's not gonna, be down on either side. But I don't know. I always still think you'd have some bias knowing that one side was so wronging the other. It just seems like, and I guess it's just the way TV shows wrap up is usually a pretty quick wrap up. But you would kind of think that it wouldn't wrap up so neatly. Like the Savages would have to be pretty pissed.
This is the 1960s. It's a happy ending. Sorry. Almost always, up until recently, it's a happy ending. Majority of TV up until recently, it's a happy ending. Then Lost came around, and Game of Thrones came around, and I mean, like, there's stuff before all these things, but
yeah, they
destroyed the happy ending.
Yeah, there's some small shows that would not end in a happy ending, but it's when a few big popular shows started not having great happy endings that kind of everyone breathed this little sigh of, I don't have to do that anymore. I can
torture them.
I can go and kill off major characters that everyone loves every other episode, and it's all cool.
Thank you, Game of Thrones.
And that's been kind of happening a lot lately. I think most of the shows I watch right now don't have happy endings all the time. Because I'm watching Game of Thrones, which certainly
that
doesn't.
definitely doesn't have
I'm watching The
endings.
Expanse, which certainly doesn't.
I haven't seen that yet.
I mean, first episode, the ice holder gets blown up.
Okay, I need to watch The Expanse, which is actually on my list, but right now I'm finishing Arrow. Arrow doesn't have happy endings all the time either. Not majority of the time, it doesn't have happy endings.
Yeah, TV is certainly getting a bit grittier. If you're not watching the comedies, the sitcoms.
Well, even then, I mean, like, a lot of those are not always happy endings.
But sitcoms have always kind of been
together.
like that. Sitcoms have always been kind of ups and downs. Sometimes you'd have episodes that were a little bit less happy and funny, but then usually, like, the next one is, so sitcoms are kind of off to the side on their own.
Yeah.
Because they have a different job. They're not really telling you a story so much as
making you laugh.
Right.
Make them laugh.
Yeah, they tend to also be shows you don't have to watch every episode, which is kind of funny that Doctor Who, even though it's a series like this, is not necessarily something you have to watch every episode. Because there's not much that carries along. Like, I feel most episodes that we've seen so far, you could start watching at that episode.
Yeah.
And in a couple, like, you're not going to know everything. Like, you're not going to have a clue why they have this ship that's shaped like a police box right away, because they don't explain it every single episode. But they explain it often enough that within a short period of time, you're going to pretty much know what's going on.
Yeah, and him and his companions seem to be like this, and just straight up not having to talk about Barbara or Ian or Susan ever.
Right.
And I think that's mostly because, there wasn't reruns yet. There wasn't, actually there might have been reruns at this point, but there wasn't, like, the ability to go back and watch it again because VHSs didn't exist yet.
So you had to hope that it was going to air again at some point.
Was there even anything before? Was there, no, like 8-track? No, that can't.
No.
That's all music. 45s, 8-tracks, all that stuff.
The first thing that you could use at home, I mean, I'm sure there was professional level stuff. But the first home stuff was Betamax and VHS.
Okay, so that was in the
You pretty much
80s
weren't
and 90s,
recording video
80s
before. I
and
mean,
90s.
maybe if you had a 16mm or 8mm film camera, you could point it at the TV and record, but that would be expensive. The quality would be pretty... And in fact, those few scenes we saw where you had a little bit of video
That had to have been somebody
certainly
doing that.
looked like probably film camera aimed at a television set at someone's house.
And it wasn't even a full video because, you know,
Right.
you can't. If, like, the kid did something weird during the video,
Right.
or somebody else did something, that's going to get caught, and you can't be playing that.
But the amusing part is that's actually how the BBC handled the TV shows.
Yeah.
Because they would record them on the magnetic media and then
Record them on.
record them onto film. But they did it in a controlled room with a film camera mounted specifically, perfectly aimed at a TV set, not sitting in your living room kind of trying to hold the thing. So yeah, we definitely saw some homebrew little bits of recording, which is still, you gotta think, is pretty neat that people did it and kept it. You know.
Yeah.
It's they so wanted to hold on to these shows that they tried to figure out whatever ways they could to do it with the technology they had at the time.
Yeah. No, I mean, that is pretty neat. Like, recording TV when I was a kid was not something you did even though. And now it's all digital.
And now you don't have to, because you have your DVR do it, or you video on demand, or you find it online, or there's so many different.
Doctor Who is the first Star Wars.
I mean, you have to kind of think, at this point, we never have to worry about losing a show again.
Yeah, no, we don't. Because, you know, it's the internet too.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah, once it goes out on that, it's all over the world. Someone will have it.
it's like what the president trying to delete a tweet. It doesn't get deleted.
Yeah.
It's there. It's over.
Yeah,
We've lost.
even your private Snapchats can still come back to haunt you.
Oh yeah, and some people have done that, just like taken straight, just
Take a
snapped.
photograph of your phone with
Yep.
that message on it, and
Screenshot.
that can get deleted all at once. But speaking of the home media, of course, it was as many in 1986 came out in paperback. Target Books.
Something I probably will never read. I'm still trying to read Outlander, and I've been trying to read that for months now. Because I keep getting distracted with video games.
And then, of course, they released the complete soundtrack recorded off the air by fans, but with narration by Peter Purves, and I'm trying to remember which part he played, and I have to look that up.
Sounds familiar.
He's Stephen.
Familiar?
So Stephen, what they did was, what we watched didn't have this. This was not from this CD that the BBC released. But apparently the BBC released a CD with these audio recordings that people had made off their TV sets, and they had a narration by the actor who played Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what year that was released. And actually, we were right. A few brief off-air 8mm film recordings made by fans represent the only clips. And they were made. Those were made available on that Lost in Time DVD box set. And believe me, there's not much.
No, it was like
maybe
4?
maybe like 4 clips, and maybe they like all put together
30
amount to like
seconds?
a minute tops.
a minute, yeah.
There's just not much. So, I don't really have much else for this episode.
Yeah, that's really good at.
But I can say this is one of the last 4 episodes of William Hartnell. It's 2 more episodes this season, and then 2 episodes into season 4, and then we have our first renewal.
Which we already covered on our podcast, but unfortunately we're going to have to watch it again.
No, we don't have to watch it again.
I'm
We already
sure we
that
have to
episode
watch
recorded.
it again.
We already have that episode.
Yeah, but we don't have video of it.
That's okay. Move on to the next one.
I got it. You don't want to watch it either.
Look,
Woohoo!
I mean, I will certainly watch it again. That's the one that they did. All episodes were missing. Power of the Daleks, and they did the animated version, which I think they should do for every single one of them. And then we'd kind of have them back. I think that's the only way at this point that you're going to get most of this back. Because if you're hoping to find some vault somewhere, because I mean BBC did send the film versions. This is what they sent out to other TV stations. That's where the most recent ones were found at a TV station in Nigeria. But as the years go by, the chances that you're going to find new ones hidden away somewhere in some storage room, some storage locker at some weird backwater TV channel is slimmer and slimmer. Especially if no one knows it's there. Film a lot of times does not store well.
No, they're trying to recreate stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So.
It
It
depending
could
on
be
how
in
it's
there.
made, it could be degrading somewhere in some not very well, climate controlled storage room.
Yeah.
And then by the time you find it, all you know is that used to be what's in that bin.
Or you don't know what used to be in that bin at all.
And then someone throws it out because they don't, So like I said, I think that's, and I hope and we've said it before, it's like I hope they do more of those.
Well, if you find old film nowadays, it's a good idea to see about trying to get it brought back to life.
Well, yeah,
'Cause
you
I
get
think
it
people
into
are
some
looking
format
for it.
that can last.
Well, no, I think there are actual people that are looking for that type of stuff. They what they do is they take it and they try to pull it apart and do all the work. It's just like with a painting. They're trying to bring it back to life. I don't remember what it's called right now because as you can tell,
Well, see, I don't think they can. I don't. Yeah, with a painting, and I think they. Now I'm drawing a blank on the word. A painting, you could have someone kind of repair it.
Yeah.
Even if it's
That's why
torn,
there was that
they
Jesus.
can kind of fix the canvas and
But then
match
they can
the
also
colors.
match the colors and
Right.
repaint in the lines to get it more
Right.
smooth. And that's why there was that one Jesus that ended up really bad because somebody decided, oh, I know how to do it.
they didn't know how to do
They
it. I
had
assume.
no idea. And it turned into a little, it was really horrible.
But one of the problems with
Horrible.
film when it degrades, and this may only really be with the
silver.
is that you can't stop it. You can't fix it. You have to kind of image what's on there and then do your fix in a computer somewhere.
Yep.
And that's a lot of what they've been doing with even some of the Doctor Who episodes because of the fact that most of what we have from these old episodes, even if we have the old episode, is that second or third generation filmed off a TV set with a film camera, and that has all the issues of film is pieces of dust and hair in the gates, scratches, all of those issues, and they've done it with Tomb of the Cybermen, where they've actually run it through a computer system, which analyzes every frame, gets rid of all the scratches, fixes the other thing you have is you have a lowering of the contrast, a darkening of it, and that's why all these they look. I mean, you're watching it on TV, but it looks like something you're watching in an old high school when they break out the big reel-to-reel projector. Because that's
You had a projector? All I had was a TV.
in my day we had the big reel-to-reel projectors making that clacking sound in the back of the room, and when the tape when it would run out, you'd hear the tap 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 tap.
Oh, gotcha. No, we just had TV.
Yeah, no, we had those, and if you've watched those when they've been run through a whole slew of times, it's they start to get all those little issues, the little dust. You'll see little dust bits, and that's why it can almost be surprising watching some of these old TV shows because you see that stuff and it's like this looks like an old film, and because they took it and put it on film because the other media was so expensive they wanted to reuse it. And they can actually bring it back with these computer programs to the state almost of what the magnetic media would have looked like, which is pretty incredible. And the dog is absolutely staring, licking his chops at that bird.
Yeah,
That's a little
distracting
disturbing.
me at this point.
That's a little disturbing.
All right, so that was fun.
And maybe apropos of the next episode, the war machines, because I'm sure that might be what that little bird thinks he's looking at.
Big old fluffy war machine.
Yes.
Anyway, so we will see you then.
Oh boy.
Oh, I really have to go because I'm gonna have to go after our dog.
Yeah.
See you till next
We have a
time.
problem. Until next time.
Don't blink.
Eh,
See, I said it easily this time. That
Yeah, because you
proves
have
I
to get over
go.
there and save the bird. Go save the bird. Oh.
You done yet? Hate to say that to you.
If he was dead, I would say it was definitely a heart attack.
Nope, not dead yet. Just sitting there. What are you doing to it? What are you doing to it? No, you don't get to eat it.
Okay, let's hear how this sounded.
You don't get to eat it either. You get more torture from me because you ate the last bird. That bird was going to be fine. This one, I don't know. Hey, you want to go PetSmart with me?
Well, what? Who?
Go to PetSmart?
Is that smart?
I don't know.
Let me pack up first. Do we have time, right?
Huh?
It's only 4:30.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Oh, we should
Whoa, what did I
probably
say?
stop this.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye. Sayonara. Bye-bye.